Can you make it full slide? Okay. Right. Can I stand?
I now invite Professor Ravinarayan Chakraborty to proceed with his presentation.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Manishita. Yeah, thank you for coming. Good afternoon. I'll be talking about the multilingual teacher education handbook that we have prepared at the Regional Institute of English, Bangalore. So I'll share the experiences of members of the project group and also experiences of training teachers. Yes, I'll give you a short background about the project, then discuss project experiences, and then talk about teacher training program, and then the follow-up we did, and conclude with my findings. These were the two main objectives of the project. One is to develop various resources, print, online, audio and video, and also activities for the purpose of creating a teacher's handbook for introducing multilingual pedagogy in English classrooms. And the other objective was to use the handbook to train teachers, to familiarize them with the concept of multilingual pedagogy and its significance in English language education, and to help them introduce multilingual pedagogy in their English subject classes. So this was a project group, members of the RIE faculty, 6 of us, plus members from IT for Change. We have Marzia, who was very active and as a member of the project group, and also team members from IT for Change. And then Reha is there, and Guru from IT for Change. And then, of course, a committed group of teachers, 20 teachers who were working in primary schools with varying degrees of teaching experience. And the focus, as you know, is development of a teacher's handbook based on the English textbooks titled Marigold, which were used for teaching English from grade 1 to 5 in government schools, in government English medium schools, in fact. So government has introduced English medium in government schools from grade 1 to 5, and we are using NCERT textbooks in these schools. And these were some of the activities we conducted in order to develop the handbook. We had a consultative meeting, 2-3 meetings with some of the experts in the field, Dr. Ajit Mohanty, Professor Leena, and then Professor Minati Panda from JNU, and also a few experts from UK. We had online meetings, discussions, and then Amol Padwad, Padmini Borua, and others. And then we had a series of workshops to develop the handbook. Began in 2022 and ended on 8th June 2023, and then we had some online meetings, presentations. So the teacher's handbook and multilingual activities and resources were developed keeping the pedagogical practices that are effective for teaching young multilingual learners as suggested by Oliveira and Jones in mind. I think this was a main framework we have used. Oliveira suggests 5 pedagogical practices which we have used in our handbook, and also is based on some of the observations made by Cummins and then other experts in the field. So some of the pedagogical practices as suggested by Oliveira are as follows: incorporating students' funds of knowledge. It's very important to value their life experiences, their cultural background, and then utilizing students' L1. And then the third practice she talks about is employing multimodal instruction, moving away from the print-based materials and helping students with multiple sources of input, audios, videos, images, gestures. And then a functional approach to language development, a meaning-focused approach to language development. These were some of the pedagogical practices that we followed in the preparation of the multilingual handbook. And the handbook had this particular structure. We had 5 important sections. Section 1, the handbook begins with, for each Marigold unit, we begin with the objectives of that particular lesson or poem. And then section 2 is about teacher's page from the NCERT book. NCERT book, each lesson has a teacher's page. So we have made it available in multiple languages. It was mainly bilingual, but wherever possible, we have added instructions in other languages. And then section 3 is the core part, textbook content. Stage 1, yeah, how to connect the textbook content to children's context or life. So the teacher's handbook will have some suggestions on how to connect the content to children's own lives, and then how to transact the content, like suggested approaches, skills to be focused, and then discussion on the theme, guiding questions to introduce the topic to the child, how to generate curiosity, and instructions on how to proceed with the lesson. And we have also given a short summary of the lesson, mainly in one language. Ideally, we should give it in different languages. Summary, a brief summary of the lesson in multiple languages. And then stage 3 is comprehension check. How to check students' comprehension by asking questions in different languages, and children can respond in their own languages. And stage 4, multilingual activities. How to use principles of multilingualism while conducting activities, right? And then section 4 is about assessment. The unit concludes with audio video resources. We've given links to audios, videos. Audios we have created actually with the help of IT for Change. Videos we relied on YouTube, and a few videos we were able to create. So these are all original materials. So I'll now talk about the experiences of the project group members. The data was mainly collected through focus group discussions and interviews. I've asked a few questions for data collection. What was your understanding of multilingual approach before joining the project? And then how did your perceptions, beliefs change as a result of being involved in the project? And what are the salient features of multilingual approach? How do you think teachers will use the handbook to introduce multilingual approach in their classrooms? And this is what the participants said. The initial perceptions of multilingualism varied. So majority of them believed that English must be taught only in English. Overuse of home languages can be detrimental to English teaching. And then code switching negatively impacts language acquisition, teaching through other languages ineffective, etc. These were their initial beliefs before joining the project. And some equated multilingual approach with translation, while others saw multilingualism as challenging. So after participating in the project, their understanding of multilingualism evolved. Like this is what one of the participants said. I'll leave it for you to read. Yes. Can I move to the next one? Yeah, next slide. Next one. Yeah. Right. So the teacher says hegemony or dominance of one language ultimately results in the marginalization of some students with different language backgrounds. Right. And how did this project influence their classroom practices? Teachers reported that they have begun incorporating languages. See, the project group members were teachers themselves. They were also using Marigold textbooks in their classrooms. Not all of them, but a few of them. So they said they have incorporated the principles of multilingualism into their teaching methods. A few teachers said they use Tulu, Malayalam, alongside Kannada to engage with their students effectively. Yes. And then, yes, students have demonstrated an increased ability to express themselves in various languages such as Hindi, Telugu, Lambani. It was also reported by the teachers that students have started using their native languages outside the classroom, not only inside. with their peers, with the teachers during lunch break, in the staff room sometimes. And then a few teachers were also successful in making their colleagues, head teachers, and the supervisory staff become aware of some of the benefits of the multilingual project. I mean, they started discussing with others, right? All right, so I'll move on to the teacher training part now. So the target group of our training was teachers working in Karnataka public schools. We have 270 Karnataka public schools where English is a medium of instruction. We have trained around 164 teachers, and then the training was given for 6 days in a split model. Initially for 3 days, and then they had to implement multilingual approach in their classrooms, come back after a gap of 5 months. So the first training was given on 29/2023 for 3 days, and the follow-up was done in the month of January after a gap of 3 to 4 months. Yes. And then these were some of the training activities we conducted. We had some multilingual icebreakers, and then we talked about challenges of teaching in English medium, an introduction to multilingual pedagogy, and then how to use teacher's handbook, and then teaching prose poetry, keeping these principles in mind. A few demo lessons were given, and then at the end there was a team teaching done by teachers themselves. So I collected data through questionnaires and also interviews. These were some of the questions I asked. What changes you have noticed in any of the following? Your confidence in teaching English. So after the training, have you noticed any changes in your confidence, in your attitude towards English, the extent to which learners participate in class activities, the progress in students' learning, and then teacher-pupil relationship, and all this. Can I go to the next slide? Yes. And students' interest in learning other languages. And yes, has the classroom become more inclusive in terms of giving opportunities to all types of learners? And then how have you used multilingual approach in assessments? And then opinions of others, other colleagues, even parents, and some of the challenges. So the last section of the questionnaire was challenges. 3 most important challenges. Right, so these are some of the pictures from the classrooms. Right, so many teachers reported an increase in their confidence in teaching English after the training. And then the response from teachers indicate a significant positive impact of the multilingual approach training on their attitudes towards teaching English. And many teachers noted a marked increase in student engagement and confidence following the implementation of multilingual approach. Students who were initially shy or hesitant, they were expressing their ideas in English. Who were initially hesitant, they became more actively engaged in classroom activities, and they understood lessons better. All right. Yes. So, and then, as any new method approach does not show its positive effects quickly, this new multilingual approach is also not an exception. So, it's a slope. We need time to assess the impact of the training. And then, a few challenges. One is a lack of familiarity with students' mother language. As all of us have been discussing since morning, teachers are not familiar with students' own languages. Seems to be one challenge. And then classroom management, or time management also became a challenge, especially when teaching students with diverse language backgrounds. And conflict between traditional teaching methods and the need for multilingualism. In some trainings, they said English only should be used. And now we are saying we have to use multilingual. So there is some kind of conflict among teachers. And then teachers' own limited proficiency in students' home languages, and then parental misconceptions, right? This is also an important factor. And classroom management, and risk of students relying solely on their mother tongue, and students' disinterest in learning other languages, and then maintaining focus on English learning despite incorporating multiple languages. They're slightly worried like how to stay focused on the learning of English. And then, did you notice any difference in your effort or time? Significant investment is required in terms of teacher preparation, teacher time, and then lesson planning and all that. And yes, time teachers required to learn other languages if they're interested. Right. So summary is, so there is a positive impact on classroom environment. Teachers are more interested in teaching English. They are able to provide opportunities for all. So there is better classroom interaction. They have started using multilingual materials. But then what is still challenging is, for example, using students' funds of knowledge, right? Using students' life experiences and relating the content to their own culture. This seems to be still challenging. And then developing learner identity. It's not just switching from one language to another, right? So developing learner autonomy and then capturing learners' growth in. So finally, how is it helping them to learn English? What is the improvement in their vocabulary, their reading, writing skills? Teachers are still finding it difficult to assess that part. And then using effective learning strategies in a multilingual classroom. Bilingual, yes, they can switch over, but multilingual, what are the effective strategies? They're still, finding it difficult. And then assessment, of course, writing a lesson plan based on multilingual approach, and identifying learning difficulties and conducting action research, for example. We want them to reflect on their experiences, conduct action research. This also seems to be challenging. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, please.